They can spot fake kindness in seconds. They notice the smallest change in someone's tone. And after enough pain, they stop reacting emotionally the way normal people do. That's what makes trauma-born empath loners different. Most people think empathy creates weakness. But when empathy is forced to survive betrayal, abandonment, manipulation, humiliation, and emotional chaos, it evolves into something dangerous. Not loud dangerous. Not violent dangerous. Psychologically dangerous. Because the people who survive deep emotional trauma often develop an ability most people never understand. They can read people before those people even speak. And the terrifying part? Most of them learned this ability because they had to. As children, they had to study moods to stay safe. They learned how to detect anger before it exploded. They learned how to sense emotional shifts before conflict happened. They became experts in silence. That's why trauma-born empath loners often feel emotionally exhausted around normal people. Their brain never truly relaxes. It scans constantly. Micro-expressions, energy shifts, voice patterns, hidden intentions, quietly, always quietly. And this is where most people make a massive mistake. They underestimate them. Because empath loners usually don't look intimidating. They're often calm, soft-spoken, reserved, emotionally controlled. But beneath that calm exterior is years of psychological adaptation, years of emotional warfare. You see, trauma changes the nervous system. When someone grows up in emotionally unstable environments, their brain becomes hyper-aware of danger. Psychologists call this hypervigilance. But here's the strange twist. Some people break under it. Others evolve because of it. And the ones who evolve become emotionally intelligent in ways that almost feel supernatural. They walk into a room and instantly feel tension. They know when someone secretly dislikes them. They sense manipulation before it fully appears. Not because they're magical, because survival trained them. That's why empath loners often isolate themselves. Not because they hate people. Because crowds become exhausting when you can feel everyone's emotional state at the same time. Most people will never understand this. The loudest people in the room usually notice the least. But the quiet ones, they see everything. That's why trauma-born empath loners are so difficult to deceive. They've already met manipulators before, usually very early in life. And once someone survives enough emotional pain, their perception sharpens like a blade. They start noticing inconsistencies. A fake smile, forced confidence, passive aggression hidden inside compliments. Things most people ignore completely. And eventually, they stop trusting words. They trust patterns. That changes everything. Because human behavior is predictable. People reveal themselves through repetition, through emotional reactions, through tiny unconscious habits. Empath loners become masters at observing these details because observation became survival. But here's the darker side nobody talks about. The same sensitivity that helps them understand people also destroys their peace. They overthink conversations for hours. They replay emotional moments repeatedly. They absorb negativity like a sponge. And after years of disappointment, many trauma-born empaths become emotionally detached. Not cold, just careful. Very careful. Because they know what emotional pain costs. This is why some of the strongest people you'll ever meet appear emotionally distant at first. They are not heartless. They simply learned that giving the wrong people access to their emotions can become self-destruction. And once a trauma-born empath finally stops chasing approval, their entire personality changes. That's when everything shifts. They stop begging for attention, stop explaining themselves, stop tolerating disrespect. And suddenly the same people who ignored them begin feeling intimidated by them. Because emotional independence is powerful. Most people depend on validation to feel valuable. But trauma-born loners often learn how to survive completely alone. That creates a level of mental resilience that many people cannot understand. Imagine someone who has already survived abandonment, betrayal, emotional manipulation, loneliness, anxiety, and heartbreak. What exactly are you going to threaten them with now? That's why these individuals often become incredibly calm under pressure. Pain trained them. Silence trained them. Isolation trained them. And here's the part that truly unsettles people. Trauma-born empath loners usually understand others better than others understand themselves. They recognize hidden insecurity behind arrogance, fear behind anger, weakness behind ego, because wounded people become students of human nature, especially the ones forced to read emotions before they were ever taught how to express their own. That creates deep psychological awareness, but awareness comes with a price. Many empath loners feel disconnected from society because they see too much beneath the surface. Small talk feels empty. Fake personalities become obvious. Surface-level relationships feel emotionally draining. So they disappear, quietly. And society misunderstands their silence as weakness. That's the irony. The strongest people are often the quietest, not because they lack confidence, because they no longer feel the need to prove themselves. And once a trauma-born empath reaches that stage, they become incredibly difficult to manipulate. Fear stops controlling them. Loneliness stops controlling them. Validation stops controlling them. That level of self-awareness becomes dangerous to toxic people because manipulators survive through emotional control. But emotionally awakened loners no longer react the same way. They observe first, analyze second, detach third, and this is where most people lose access to them forever. Because once a trauma-born empath sees someone's true character, they rarely unsee it. Quiet people remember everything, especially pain, especially betrayal, especially patterns. That's why some of the most emotionally powerful individuals you'll ever meet are the ones who suffered silently for years. Not everybody survives trauma psychologically. Many lose themselves completely. But the rare few who transform pain into awareness become something different, something sharper, calmer, more emotionally intelligent, and sometimes terrifyingly difficult to fool. Because when someone spends years surviving emotional chaos, human behavior stops becoming confusing. It becomes readable, almost transparent. And maybe that's the real reason trauma-born empath loners make people uncomfortable. They see through masks, while everyone else is still staring at the costume. If this video opened your eyes to the hidden psychology of trauma-born empath loners, subscribe to The Behavioral Edge, where human behavior is decoded one truth at a time.